Okay, we're going to start out with the first lesson for your English composition. And it says, observe the rules of using abbreviations. It says the following social titles are always abbreviated when they appear before a name. And that's going to be Mrs., and that's capital M-R-S period, Mr., capital M-R period, and Doctor, capital D-R period. And it says spell out the doctor, and you can see how doctor is spelled, is in italics. And when without the name, I visited Dr. Johnson office when I had the flu. I visited doctor's office when I had the flu. And it says use abbreviations for scholastic degrees after a name. Notice that the comma precedes the abbreviation, and in the middle of the sentence, place the comma before and after the abbreviations. So you can see abbreviations are the BS comes the comma comes right before the BS, and Joanna Vercelli's, then there's a comma, and then there's BS. And that stands for Bachelor's of Science. And then you have Charles Mayo, which has a comma following the name, and then an M period D period, which stands for medical doctor. And then you have Pastor Robert, which has a comma there following Pastor Robert's name, and it has a PH period D period, and that stands for doctorate in philosophy. It says use abbreviations junior and senior, and you can see junior and senior how it's spelled. And then it says here after the full name, first and last name, notice that the comma precedes the abbreviation. In the middle of the sentence, place a comma before and after the abbreviation, and you can see Donald Pendley, comma, Jr. And then Mrs. Period, you can see how that's M-R-S period, Todd Jackson, comma, senior. And so you use a comma right before the abbreviation for senior, that's S-R period. It says the title Reverend Honorable may be abbreviated if used in the full name. You can see how that's written. And we're going to go down to E. Use abbreviations AM before noon and PM after noon. So if it's after 12 o'clock. E. Use abbreviations AM and PM. And then I think I told you about how to do that. So let's look at the examples of that. We left Louisiana at 9 a.m. and arrived in Pensacola at 7 p.m. And it says we left Louisiana at 9 o'clock in the morning, and the fall of Nineveh in 612 BC occurred about 1,100 years before the fall of Rome in AD 476. Abbreviation for well-known organizations are acceptable too. PTM, CIA, YWCA, FDA, and IRS. And it says it is now generally practiced to omit periods in abbreviation of organizations. Okay, so number 2, observe these rules for writing. In the non-scientific writing, spell out the number of one or two words, 20, 27, 20, or 3,000, 50, 600. And it says if you are writing several like numbers, some of them only 2 words, some more than 2, use figures for all. It said there were only 12 people in my tour, but a total of 259 people visited the museum today. Those are like numbers. It says we arrived at the museum at 2 p.m. and stayed 3 hours. these are unlike numbers because one is talking about, 3 hours and when then the other one is talking about when they arrived at 2 p.m. C. Do not begin a sentence with figures. Like, for instance, 2 of the college students lived over 5,500 miles away. That's incorrect. Instead, write the number 2 out. And you can see how they wrote it out in the second sentence, TWO. Then D, write out numbers like first, 6, 43rd, and so on. First, not first. 6, not 6th. 46, not 46th, written like that. Or 43rd, rather, not written like that. It says, name the numbers on the streets under 100 are preferred written down. Names of numbered streets under 100 are preferred written out. 4th Avenue, 26th Street, they are under 100. It says year numbers and number referring to parts of the book are written as figures. And they give you there 4 BC, AD 120, page 41, chapter 7. So in the exercise, they want you to cross out the errors in the manuscript and make corrections where necessary. And you can see I'm giving you about 4 of them already. Reverend Paul Moore will preach in church service 7 p.m. and it says that they didn't put down in the evening. They took that out, and they also took out the Reverend abbreviation, and they put in the full Reverend. Okay, so I'm gonna let you do some of the other ones on your own.